G'day Year 7s and welcome to our next video in our tutorial series for this, I'll take a breath now, unit with our integers. Okay, here we're looking at exercise 7D, multiplication and division of integers. Okay, now I'm saying okay a lot already. Remember this stuff. We did write this on the board and I asked you to put it in your notes. So if you haven't put it in the notes, you need to put it in your notes. Because this is the most important information you can get. Okay, remembering that if you have two positives or two negatives, so if the signs are the same, okay, you end up with positives. Okay, if the signs are different, so a negative and a positive, or a positive and a negative, you get different signs. Okay, very important to remember. So if I show you some examples, so if we're looking at multiplying here, so all those examples are multiplying, that's okay. So if we multiply two positive integers together, okay, straight away two positives mean I'm going to get a positive answer. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. Okay, here I'm multiplying two negative integers. Okay, so two negatives give me a positive, so I know I'm going to end up with a positive answer. Okay, so when I do these types of problems, the first thing I look at is the signs. Okay, so I don't worry about multiplying the numbers yet. I just look at, well, am I going to end up with a positive or a negative number in my answer? Okay, I'll write that first and then I'll write my answer. Okay, so if I was doing this problem, for example, I know the two positives, just so that answer wasn't there, I'd write a plus, then I'd go 3 times 2 is a 6. So my answer is plus 6. Okay, and that's fine to write plus 6 as your answer. Alright, here I've got two negatives, so again, I'd write my plus. So if that wasn't there, I'd write my plus, two negatives give me a plus, then I'll do 3 times 2, which gives me 6. Okay. Here, if I've got a negative and a positive, so a negative and a positive gives me a negative, so straight away, if that wasn't there, I'm going to write a negative, and then I'll do 3 times 2. Alright, so what I'm doing is dealing with the positives and negatives first, find out what my answer is, in terms of am I going to end up with a positive or a negative answer. Okay, and then I don't even worry about the negatives and positives when I multiply. I just look at my numbers, okay, and multiply them together to get my final answer, because I've already dealt with the signs. So again, here I've got a positive 3 and a negative 2, so positive and a negative gives me a negative, so straight away I'll just write a negative, and then I don't even look at that negative part anymore. I'll just say 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay, that's the easiest way to deal with these types of problems. So let's make this a short video and get straight into it. So calculate these products and quotients. Okay, remember quotients being division, and if you have a look at my next slide, that's where I've got my quotients dividing. Okay, so alright, so here I go, 5 times minus 6. So I'll look at a positive and a negative, and a positive and negative gives me a negative answer, and then I just do 5 times 6, which is 30. It's that simple. Here, negative and a negative, which means I'm going to end up with a positive answer. Two negatives. If they're the same, always positive. So if the signs are the same, positive. If the signs are different, negative. Okay, so I end up with a positive answer. And then I just say 3 times 7, which is 21. So I end up with a positive 21. Okay, that easy. Here, we've got division this time, so negative 36 divided by a negative 4, so two negatives are going to give me a positive, and then 36 divided by 4 is 9. Okay, so when you multiply or divide, which you should look up here, if you multiply or divide here, so it's not just multiplication as it's shown here, it's the same for division. Okay, so if you multiply or divide, two positives, you get a positive. If you multiply or divide two negatives, it's a positive. If you multiply or divide negatives and positives, or positives and negatives, you always end up with negatives. Okay. Next example, I've got a negative 18 divided by 9, so it's a negative and a positive. So straight away, I've got a negative answer. 18 divided by 9 is 2. Okay, really, really easy. Hope that makes sense. Alright, working from left to right, find the answer. So from left to right, starting here, working my way that way. So I've got this part first. Alright, now I'm going to write this up here, and this is how my working out would look. Okay, divided by negative 2. Alright, so I'm going to work this way first, do the multiplication. Negative 7 times 4, so a negative and a positive. I know I'm going to end up with a negative. 7 times 4 is 28. And now I'm just going to write the rest as is, because all I've done is dealt with this part of my equation. I've dealt with that, which is now here, and this part just dropping straight down because I haven't done anything with that yet. I haven't touched it. Okay, now I've got negative 28 divided by a negative 2. Alright, so two negatives, a negative here and a negative here, gives me a positive answer, and 28 divided by 2 gives me 14. Okay, and there is my answer. It is that easy, that simple. Not hard at all. Alright, and that is it. Okay, I'm not going to go over anything else. So hopefully that gives you the gist of what's going on here. Again, this is the most important information you can have right here, and what happens with multiplying and dividing signs and what outcome you get. And like I said, approach it in terms of, well, this works for me anyway, I always look at my signs first to write whether I get a positive or negative answer, and then I just look at the numbers and get my answer when I multiply or divide the numbers. Works for me, doesn't confuse me at all, and it all works out. Alright, hopefully that makes sense to you. You are now ready to get on to exercise 7D. Good luck. Make sure you come and see me if you've got any problems. Bye bye.